I'm Sharon Jones and I'm part of the Latin Link Peru team. I normally live in Lima, but right now I'm in the UK. Like many countries around the world, Peru is on lockdown. They have around 70,000 cases and nearly 2,000 deaths up until today. But one of the major factors, as in a lot of Latin American countries, is the fact that people normally live hand to mouth with what money they can earn in that day. So it's having a big effect on the economy, it's having a big effect on families' lives. People are hungry and people are starting to get desperate. So there's been some cases where markets have had riots because people really need the food. One of the big problems at the moment in Peru is in Iquitos, a big city in the jungle. And actually my church has a missionary in Iquitos, my church in Lima. We have a lady who's translating the Bible in Iquitos and she has coronavirus. And in Iquitos, they've run out of oxygen and the hospitals have no space left. So we're really praying for her. And that's just one person out of many who are suffering. Even with knowing the confirmed cases, we all know there's so many more. So we really want to keep Peru in our prayers and pray that people can get the help that they need when they need it. After 2 months in lockdown, the government is starting to implement its exit strategy. So they have a plan for the next 4 months of how they're going to reopen society and the economy. Interestingly, they have closed all schools until December. So I'm really aware of what impact that might have on families and children and how they're going to keep going during that time. Well, it's affecting everything. Obviously, I'm in the UK and my ministry is mainly in Peru. I'm the coordinator for a small publishing ministry called Buena Tierra, and we produce Bible teaching materials for kids. Our aim is to encourage and equip those who are teaching the Bible to young people. So right now, we can't sell our books and we can't deliver our training. So we're having to think about different ways of doing things. We are part of CLC, which is Christian Literature Centre, an international ministry and bookshop chain. And right now, CLC Peru has had to be shut down for the last 2 months. Sadly, none of the workers have a contract anymore, and only 5 have been promised their jobs back once the shop opens again. So for me, it's really hard and really sad because my work family in Peru has really changed and are really suffering. So one of the things I've been trying to do is get some financial support for those people who now have no jobs and no income. So that's been something to keep me focused and keep me going. Another thing that Buena Tierra are doing differently because of this virus is that we started producing some free online resources for families to enjoy the Bible at home. And it's called Travel with Paul. You can check out the website, viajaconpablo.com. And these resources are aiming to help families enjoy the Bible at home, to get to know God more and to strengthen their faith. And we're learning 3 things about God: that God is good, that God is sovereign, and that God has a plan. And we're learning those things each week as we travel around with Paul, looking at the book of Acts and some of the letters that Paul wrote. So that's been interesting to develop new resources and to be writing. And I've been working with 2 colleagues in Peru, Moises and Mary Carmen. So it's been really great to be part of a team and to still feel connected somehow to Peru. I've also been working with Aurora. Aurora is our material for the prevention of child sex abuse, and this has recently been translated into English. So this is really exciting. So I'm really working on developing this as well. We've had the first translation done, so I'm working on editing it and improving it and making it available. I was supposed to be here in Europe, not for very long, just to go to a conference in Poland to present this material to CLC European directors, and also to go to Spain to do some training. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to keep working on this material because we need to keep working together to prevent child sex abuse all across the world. This is Aurora, and she flies here and she flies there, and she helps tell the children how they can protect themselves in risk situations where they might be abused. Child sexual abuse is a huge problem, not just in Peru, but across Latin America. They are more than probably about 20% of children are affected by child abuse on average, and that can get up to rates of 70–80% in the poorer areas. So there's a lot more risk for them. So we're trying to work together with churches and Aurora to give them resources to help the children be able to know how to say no, to run away, and to tell someone they trust. So yeah, we'd really appreciate your prayers for this material. The English version, we want it to be translated into different languages, and we're hoping to take it to Kenya and the Philippines and places across Europe as well. So it's really exciting, isn't it, Aurora? Yes! I'd really appreciate your prayers for my CLC family in Peru, for my work colleagues who sadly have lost their jobs. Please pray for provision for them amidst this uncertain future. I'd also love prayers that our free resources of Travel with Paul would reach families and help them to get to know God more and strengthen their faith, so that children can understand who God is and know Jesus. And thirdly, I'd really love prayer that God would just have his hand over my timing for how and when I return to Peru. Well, I've been blessed by creation here in Liverpool, having walks by the River Mersey and seeing the green trees that normally I don't see in Lima. I've been encouraged by a couple of books I've been reading, Anxious for Nothing by Max Lucado and Enjoying God by Tim Chester. So it's just really good to have a little bit more time to read. I've been blessed by the privilege of spending time with my parents. And I've been encouraged by other Latin Link friends. I have a weekly Skype prayer meeting with some other girls who are from Latin Link Peru, so that's been really encouraging as well. And finally, being back in England and the fact that all churches are doing things online now, I've been encouraged that I've been able to connect with my UK churches without having to travel around like a maniac all the time. So that's been really great too.